Hello and welcome to this quick guide on how to create a one versus all game mechanic in Crayta. So a one versus all game mechanic is essentially a mechanic where there's two teams in a game. One team has one person on their own and the other team has everybody else. So it gives you an opportunity as a game designer to play around with giving that one person some cool advantages, give them bigger guns or make them invincible or whatever you need to do, and also to play around with different objectives. For a really good example of this kind of game, check out the Exploding Barrels game made by Russ. So how do we put this kind of thing together? So I've started with a team elimination game template, and in my team elimination game template, the first thing I might need to do is go to the elimination game script, edit this asset, and then within here, find these two lines of code. Essentially, if you're making this game on your own, then the game will end almost immediately every round because you have won as the other team has been eliminated. So you might want to comment those out so that you can test your game more fully. Don't forget to uncomment them before you publish, otherwise the game won't work properly. Now, once you've done that, head over to the game script and you need to look at balancing your teams so that there's only one player in one team and everyone else in the other team. So the way that I went about doing this is to essentially create this self.notBeanSolo class level variable, which is essentially going to be a table that stores all of the people that haven't yet had a go at playing in the team on their own. Then once I've created that, whenever a new user logs in, there's this onUserLogin function, which is automatically called by Crayta. And within here, it runs this setUserTeam function. So whenever someone logs in, it gives them a team. And it does this in a way which is usually really fair. It usually says, okay, the team with the least amount of people, put the last person to log in on their team. We're going to remove that. We're going to take that out because we want our game to be unfair. So we're only going to put the player on team 2. In fact, we can delete that code and this code here where we're counting how many people are on each team. Then we can send to script. Still do this user entity send to script set team part, but we know that it's only sending team 2. So everyone's being put on team 2 at the very beginning. The next thing to do is to write a function which rebalances the teams between rounds. Make sure that when you write this function, you are running it on the on-round start. So you can click on the game controller in your game world, which is where your game script is located, and scroll down in here to the on-round start, click new binding, and then add the game script rebalance teams function that you've just written. Within the rebalance teams function, the way that I went about doing this was to count how many people were in the NotBeanSolo collection or table. And if there was no one, then refill that table with every user in the game world. Then randomly choose a number between 1 and the number of people that are within that table, and use that number to pick out one of the users. Then I go through each user in the game world, so using the getWorld for each user function. And essentially, if they have been selected as that solo user, set their team to team 1, and then set their, otherwise, if they haven't been selected as the solo player, set their team to team 2. So this will essentially rebalance the teams every single round. It will choose one person to be on team 1, and then put everyone else on team 2. If you want it to be a round robin, so there's a different person that's selected every round until everyone has had a go and then restart, make sure to remove from the table the last person who was selected. And that's essentially it. Once you've done that, you can leverage the setTeam function, which is being called on the user, to determine what specific attributes or advantages or anything like that you want to change on the user depending on which team they've been set, knowing that team 1, they're on their own, team 2, they're with everyone else. And that's essentially the crux of this game logic. I hope that was useful, and I look forward to playing your one versus all games in Crayta.